If you've ever said just one more minute and only to realize it's 3 a.m., this video is for you. Today we're counting down 12 games that you simply cannot stop playing once you start. From intense platformers to sprawling open world adventures, these games are so captivating that you'll lose track of time and sleep. Stick around because this list only gets better, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Kicking off the list at number 12, it's Celeste. This platformer will pull you in with its challenging gameplay and deep emotional storyline. You start as Madeline, a young woman determined to scale Celeste Mountain. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. Every jump, every dash, every near miss with a spike feels like threading a needle while riding a roller coaster. And don't even get me started on the strawberries. You'll know what I mean. Precision is everything, and the satisfaction of mastering each level will keep you coming back for more. There's something magical about nailing that perfect sequence of moves after dozens of attempts. It's like finally solving that one puzzle piece you swore was missing. Plus, the journey to the summit is more than just about jumping. It's about self-discovery. Madeline's struggles with anxiety and self-doubt resonate deeply, adding layers to an already rich experience. The mountain becomes a metaphor for her inner battles, and each step forward feels like progress in more ways than one. But if you prefer cards over climbing mountains, check out the next game. Number 11 is the addictive deck building roguelike, Slay the Spire. Every run is different, and every hand could make or break you. You start with a basic deck, and as you progress, you add new cards, relics, and strategies. It's like a game of poker on steroids, where every decision counts. The randomness of roguelikes combined with the strategic depth of card games makes each new run feel like a fresh challenge, constantly teasing you with just one more try. One moment you're on top of the world, feeling invincible with your perfectly crafted deck. The next, a single miscalculation has you staring at the defeated screen. The thrill comes from that razor's edge between triumph and disaster. You never know what's around the corner, an elite enemy that tests your limits, or a treasure chest holding game-changing relics. And don't get me started on the bosses. Each one requires a different strategy, keeping you on your toes and forcing you to adapt. I remember one run where I thought I had it all figured out. My deck was stacked with powerful attack cards, but I ignored defense. Big mistake. One hit from the boss wiped me out, but instead of frustration, it just made me want to dive back in and try again. Speaking of endless adventures, how about getting lost in the vast world of Skyrim? At number 10, we have the iconic open-world RPG, Skyrim. Skyrim, a game where dragons fly overhead and every NPC seems to have a story for you. From the moment you step into this vast, wintry landscape, it's like stepping into another life. You start off as a prisoner, of course, because nothing says hero like being in chains. But soon, you're choosing your race, customizing your character, and deciding which skills to develop. The freedom is intoxicating. Do you become a stealthy Khajiit thief, slinking through shadows and picking locks? Or perhaps a noble Breton mage, casting spells with elegance and flair? The choices are endless. Between exploring caves, crafting armor, and deciding whether to shout dragons out of the sky, you'll forget what the real world even looks like. One moment you're fighting a band of bandits in some forgotten ruin. The next, you're absorbing a dragon's soul on top of a mountain. And let's not even get started on mods. Want to turn dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine? Go for it. Fancy adding new quests that are better than some Hey games? There's a mod for that too. I once spent an entire weekend just decorating my house in Whiterun. Not adventuring or fighting, just making sure my bookshelf was perfect. And let's be honest, who hasn't Fus Rodad an NPC off a cliff just for kicks? But if dragons aren't your thing, how about battling your way out of the underworld? At number 9, Hades offers endless action and fast-paced roguelike combat. Every death feels like a fresh start, and every interaction with the Greek gods is a story waiting to unfold. I can't count how many times I've tried to escape the underworld as Zagreus, only to be sent back to the house of Hades. And yet each run is never the same. The combat is so addicting. Chaining together attacks with different weapons and abilities makes every encounter a new challenge. What really hooks me though are the characters. Each god you meet offers boons that change your playstyle, but it's their personalities that keep you engaged. One moment, Athena's giving you sage advice. The next, Dionysus is encouraging you to kick back with some wine. The snappy dialogue between characters adds so much charm, even in defeat. You're eager to get back out there just to hear what everyone has to say. And let's not forget the lore. Each failed attempt reveals more about the fascinating underworld and Zagreus' complicated family dynamics. It's like peeling an onion, layers upon layers of rich storytelling that keep you invested in every run. I remember one time when I almost made it out, but got too cocky during a boss fight. Instead of feeling frustrated, I was excited to return and chat with Achilles about my latest failure. The blend of action and story makes it impossible to put down. Now let's switch from battling gods to building worlds. Coming in at number 8 is Minecraft, the game that lets you build anything and everything. In survival or creative mode, the only limit is your imagination, and maybe a creeper or two. Whether I'm gathering resources, fighting monsters, or building castles, the endless possibilities keep me glued to my screen. One moment I'm mining for diamonds in the deepest caves, narrowly avoiding lava flows. The next I'm crafting elaborate redstone contraptions that make me feel like an engineering genius. Just when I think I've seen it all, a new update drops to pull me right back in. New biomes, new mobs, new blocks. It's a never-ending cycle of discovery and creativity. I once spent weeks building a replica of my hometown, block by block. The sense of accomplishment was incredible. And then there are those moments of sheer panic when you hear the hiss of a creeper behind you. That sound has made me jump out of my chair more times than I can count, yet the thrill of narrowly escaping an explosion keeps me coming back for more. And let's not forget multiplayer mode. There's something magical about logging into a server with friends and collaborating on massive projects, or sometimes just messing around with TNT and seeing who can create the biggest crater. But if you're more into conquering the world than building it, check out our next game. At number 7, we have Civilization 6, the ultimate turn-based strategy game. They say just one more turn, and before you know it, it's dawn. Building an empire, engaging in diplomacy, and advancing your civilization across thousands of years is nothing short of addicting. There's always something new to conquer. One moment I'm negotiating a trade deal with Cleopatra, the next I'm defending my borders against Genghis Khan's relentless horsemen. The game constantly challenges me to think ahead, plan my moves, and adapt to ever-changing circumstances. I remember starting a game with the intention of playing for just an hour. 6 hours later, I found myself deeply invested in my sprawling empire. The satisfaction of seeing my cities grow and my technologies advance is unparalleled. Each decision, whether it's choosing a new research path or deciding where to place a new city, feels monumental. The intricacies of diplomacy add another layer of depth. Forming alliances, making promises, and occasionally breaking them keeps me on my toes. The AI personalities are so well crafted that it feels like interacting with real historical leaders. And don't even get me started on the culture victory. Watching my civilization's influence spread across the globe through great works of art and music is immensely gratifying. It's like painting a masterpiece one turn at a time. Now let's head back to the world of fantasy with a game that's all about slaying monsters.
You make a fine sailor.
Number 6 brings us The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. With Geralt of Rivia, you're not just hunting monsters, you're also tracking down an epic story full of twists and turns. I remember the first time I stepped into the world of The Witcher 3, the sheer scale of the game blew my mind. One moment I'm in the bustling streets of Novigrad, bartering with merchants and taking on contracts. The next, I'm galloping across vast fields on my trusty horse, Roach, marveling at the stunning landscapes. The world is massive, the side quests are as engaging as the main storyline, and the allure of exploring new areas, defeating fearsome creatures, and uncovering deep lore will keep you immersed for hours on end. Each quest feels like its own mini story. I can't count how many times I got sidetracked from the main quest because a side mission sounded too intriguing to pass up. And let's talk about the monsters. Every beast you encounter requires different tactics and preparation. Crafting potions, applying oils to your sword, and strategizing your approach makes every battle feel fresh and challenging. I once spent hours tracking a Leshen through dense woods, using every clue to piece together its whereabouts. The thrill of finally confronting it was unmatched. But maybe you prefer digging for treasure rather than hunting monsters. At number 5, we have Terraria, a 2D sandbox game that packs in just as much adventure as its 3D cousin, Minecraft. I dive into Terraria thinking I'll just explore a bit, maybe build a simple house. Next thing I know, I'm battling giant eyeballs and digging through layers of earth like a maniacal mole. What makes Terraria impossible to put down? It's the endless exploration, crafting, and battling. Each world is procedurally generated, giving you a new adventure every time you play. One moment, I'm mining for rare ores in the depths of the underworld. The next, I'm constructing elaborate traps to take down the wall of flesh. There's always one more boss to beat or item to craft. The thrill of discovering new biomes, unearthing hidden treasures, and crafting powerful gear keeps me glued to the screen. I remember spending an entire evening just trying to summon and defeat the Eater of Worlds. The rush of finally taking it down was worth every second. Plus, the game's charming pixel art and quirky NPCs add so much character. Whether it's the guide offering tips or the merchant selling rare items, each interaction adds depth to my adventure. Now, from treasure hunting to bug-filled underground worlds, Number 4 goes to Hollow Knight. This beautifully haunting Metroidvania has a world filled with secrets just waiting to be uncovered. From the moment I stepped into Hollow Nest, I felt a mix of curiosity and dread. The desolate beauty of the landscape, the soft echoes of forgotten civilizations, it all pulls you in, deeper and deeper. Each area offers a new challenge, and the fluid combat keeps you on your toes. Every swing of my nail feels precise, every dodge crucial. The enemies are relentless, but the satisfaction of overcoming them is unparalleled. And let's not forget the bosses, each one more menacing than the last, demanding both skill and strategy. What really keeps me glued to the screen, though, is the sense of discovery. Every corner holds a secret, a hidden passageway, a forgotten relic, or a cryptic piece of lore that adds another layer to this intricate world. I remember finding an ancient tramway deep underground. It felt like unearthing a piece of history. The deeper you go, the more engrossed you become in its eerie, insect-filled world. The music haunts your steps. The visuals mesmerize with their dark beauty. It's easy to lose hours just exploring every nook and cranny, fighting off enemies and collecting precious geo. Next, we have an open-world game that redefined exploration. At number 3, it's Breath of the Wild. In this game, you're free to explore every nook and cranny of Hyrule, and trust me, there's a lot to see. The moment I woke up as Link emerging from the Shrine of Resurrection, I knew I was in for an adventure. The vastness of the landscape sprawled before me, begging to be explored. Hills, valleys, rivers, all calling out with promises of hidden treasures and epic battles. From climbing mountains to fighting off Lynels, the sheer freedom and the endless quests and secrets will keep you hooked for hours, or even days. I remember my first encounter with a Lynel. Heart pounding, palms sweating, I thought I was prepared. Spoiler, I wasn't, but that's the beauty of it. Every defeat teaches you something new. And then there's the cooking. Who knew tossing random ingredients into a pot could be so satisfying? The moment my dubious food turned into a hearty meal felt like a small victory. Experimenting with different combinations, figuring out which dishes boost my stamina or grant fire resistance, it's all part of the adventure. And let's not forget the shrines. Each one is a puzzle waiting to be solved, challenging both your wits and your combat skills. The sense of accomplishment when you finally crack one open is second to none. But if Hyrule isn't big enough for you, our next game takes you to the Wild Wests.
Orders from Dutch, same as always.
A pair of them are becoming unhinged.
Number 2 is the epic Red Dead Redemption 2. This Western saga combines a massive open world with an emotional story that's hard to walk away from. I remember the first time I rode out of the snowy mountains into the sprawling plains of New Hanover. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the landscape, and I felt like I'd been transported to another era. The level of detail in the world is staggering, from hunting to fishing to the unpredictable interactions with NPCs. One moment, I'm carefully tracking a legendary buck through dense forest. The next, I'm breaking up a bar fight in Valentine, or playing poker with strangers who feel all too real. The immersion is so deep that hours can slip by unnoticed. Every choice matters. Whether I'm deciding how to handle a train robbery or just choosing which hat to wear for my next ride into town, each decision shapes my experience. One time I helped a stranger fix his broken wagon wheel, only to have him show up later and offer me a discount at his store. A small but meaningful moment that made the world feel alive. I've spent entire days just fishing by a quiet river trying to catch that elusive big one, or hunting down every animal species to craft the perfect outfit. The game doesn't rush you, it invites you to savor every detail, every story. And finally, a game that proves farming can be just as addictive as slaying monsters. Taking the top spot, it's Stardew Valley. What starts as a simple farming simulator quickly turns into an obsession with perfecting your farm, building relationships, and uncovering mysteries. I remember the first time I stepped off the bus into Pelican Town, overwhelmed by the overgrown fields and broken fences of my new farm. But bit by bit, day by day, I transformed that chaos into a thriving paradise. With countless activities like farming, mining, and befriending villagers, every day in Stardew Valley brings something new. One moment I'm planting parsnips and watering crops. The next I'm diving deep into the mines, fighting off slimes and gathering precious ores. And don't even get me started on fishing. Who knew catching a legendary fish could be so thrilling? The cycle of farming and building up your farmstead is so satisfying. You'll find yourself saying, just one more day, over and over again. I've lost count of how many times I planned to play for just an hour, only to realize it's 2 a.m. and my farm is looking better than ever. The joy of harvesting your first bumper crop, or finally completing a tricky bundle in the community center, is unparalleled. And then there are the villagers. Each one has their own story, their own quirks. Building relationships with them adds another layer to the game. Whether it's giving gifts to win their favor or attending seasonal festivals to bond with the community, every interaction feels meaningful. And that wraps up our list of games you just can't stop playing. From challenging platformers like Celeste to immersive worlds like Red Dead Redemption 2, these are the games that keep you coming back time and time again. So what games have you lost sleep over? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this list, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more gaming content that'll keep you hooked. Thanks for watching, and remember, don't blame me if you lose track of time playing these games.